Buying a horse is a super exciting time. You're looking at different horses, you're looking at different options. Today I'm going to show you a few things to look for that'll help the buying process go better, help you be aware of some things you might not have thought of before. So guys, the first thing I want to talk about is the horse's color. Oftentimes when you're buying a horse, you see the color you want and you think about that first before anything else. You want to make sure the horse is the right age for you, the right size for you. You want to make sure they have the right kind of behavior and temperament before you think about the color, okay? So if you find the horse that's perfect for you and their color you like, that's a real bonus and you should be super happy. But if you can't find a horse that's the right color, don't worry too much about it because you'll learn to love the horse even if it's not the exact color you wanted. I never dreamed of having a red horse, but this horse has turned out to be incredible for me and exactly what I needed. So the next thing is, guys, if you have a trainer, someplace that you go ride horses, it's important to reach out to them first because they're going to have contacts. They may even have a horse for sale themselves, and oftentimes they can give you tips about what kind of horse you need for your specific riding skill and level and the different disciplines you want to do with your horse. So that's a great first step, is to ask your local trainer, your local farrier, people like that have a lot of interactions with horses. They're going to have better contacts and information, and you can usually find a horse through them really easily. Alright guys, so the very first thing you're going to do when you find a horse is you're going to do a general look over your horse, okay? Does he have any obvious injuries? So you want to look at his legs, you want to look at his bones, his muscles, different places, especially his head, his face. Look for any cuts or scrapes or any scars. Do you see any kind of swollen limb or swollen part of his body, especially on their legs? You really want to check it out. Sometimes horses have hocks and their back legs are kind of pointing towards each other. They're not so straight. You want to make sure the horse is nice and square, doesn't have any kind of obvious flaws. I can see here that his front legs aren't twisting outwards or inwards. They're nice and square, so that's a good thing to look for. The next thing that you want to look at, guys, is the horse's eyes, nose, and mouth. The horses have pink flesh or pink skin in their eyes, nose, and mouth, and you want to just gently open it to check the color of it. If you just bend their nose open, you can actually see the pink in there, and then their lip is very easy to look in there. You can see in their lip, and also around their gums, you can see that pink flesh, okay? And that is very important to just check that all of that looks similar, okay? You want that to all look around the same tone. If his eye looks super red, if his nose looks super red, or there's even blood sometimes, that could mean that the horse has a serious infection or they have a very high fever. You want to make sure that the teeth look okay. Sometimes they are dirty, but horses eat grass all day, so it's kind of normal. Alright guys, so I would also always recommend asking the owner, the previous owner, if the horse has had any injury in the past, okay? Because they'll often know if the horse cut his leg, if the horse had some kind of surgery or some kind of injury or some kind of hoof problem. The previous owner will know that. So go ahead and ask them, has this horse had any injuries before? Because I always want to know if the horse has had injuries. And obviously the owner can lie to you, but hopefully they're honest with you and say, yeah, when he was younger, he kind of caught his leg in the fence and he still got a little scar from it. So you want to go ahead and make sure that that horse is nice and sound on that leg wherever he had that injury, okay? If the horse has had previous injuries, you can actually use that to your advantage because you can tell the owner, look, I know you're asking this much for the horse, would you take this much because he's had a couple things that have happened to him, okay? So depending on how old the horse is, typically they'll have several injuries in their life. It's just horses, that's how it is. So if they have, try to find out what it was. You can keep that in mind, and you can also use it to get a better price. So because you're buying a horse from someone that you don't know, you want to go ahead and test the horse for common reactions to things that owners might do. So for example, if I come over here to this horse here, okay, and I pretend to slap him. Now I love to do this with horses I'm about to buy because I want to know, has the previous owner smacked the horse, okay? If the horse has been smacked, when you do this, the horse will react really big, all right? So I want to know if the previous owner has been mistreating the horse. If he reacts to my hands, slapping towards him like this in a big way where he throws his head, that's a sign that he's probably been slapped before, okay? Now, I want to also, whenever I buy a horse, I want to see how scared they are of throwing the rope over their back, okay? Now, I know this is something really simple and you might think, oh, well, I never buy a crazy horse, but if you buy any kind of horse, I don't care what age it is, what breed it is, they tend to react to things like this, okay? So if you throw the rope over your horse's body, this is going to show you how reactive the horse is. So if you throw it around his back legs and he kicks, then you already know that horse has a bit of an issue with kicking when things touch their back legs, okay? If you throw the rope at the horse and the horse takes off running, which, believe it or not, that happens a lot of times, then you know you've got a little bit more work to do. You might have to actually send the horse to training or something like that, okay? But this should give you a basic idea of how tame the horse is. When you just throw this rope over their back like this, you'll be able to kind of get a good idea of how reactive they are, okay? So I like to do a nice big circle like this, and I like to watch the horse's rhythm, okay? I'm looking for if he's limping on any leg. Now this might be a little bit hard to see if you're not used to watching horses and you're not used to what they look like when they're running or when they're trotting, but if you're used to it at all, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You can easily see when a horse is limping. Now after a few minutes of that, guys, you should also be able to check now how much is he breathing, okay? This is important because I want to know what level of fitness the horse is in. If the horse is wheezing and barely able to breathe, you know that horse is either super fat and underworked or they're out of shape, okay? So I want to check now, how's he breathing after a few minutes of work? How's he breathing? Is he looking like he's dying from the exercise, or is he looking fine? Is he happy? Because if he's nice and happy, and he should be pretty fit, which means it's a lot easier, you can just go ahead and use him. But if he's really breathing hard and he's showing signs of struggling to breathe, he's probably out of shape, or he might have a problem with his lungs. Another thing to look for is white spots on a horse, okay? So I want to just show you real quick. A common place to have white spots is right here where the horse's saddle is placed, okay? So what can happen is the owners can use the wrong saddle for the horse. It might not be the right size, and it rubs the horse here. And white spots will form just like this one here. This one here, I'm not actually sure what it's from, but it usually happens when there's some kind of scar tissue. And Comet actually has some white spots on his butt right here from some disease or kind of skin infection he had when he was younger, and these are all white spots up here. Believe it or not, owners will lie to you to the point that they'll tell you the horse has never been ridden, but if you see that there's white spots in this area right here, on both sides or one side, you automatically know that the horse has been ridden, and it's not true. So I've actually had that happen to me where I asked someone, has this horse been ridden? And they said no, and on their back was clearly marked where the saddle had been. So keep that in mind, guys. Those white spots are a sign of the wrong saddle being used for that horse. Bow. Lie down, Comet. Lie down, buddy. Whoa. Good boy. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you can find the horse that's perfect for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.